Okay, hi everyone.
What's up, everyone?
So it's Liv.
That's right. Pastor Chris Harris from Chicago, baby.
Woo, baby! So today we're gonna talk a little bit about everything that's going on.
That's right.
From like this white Jewish girl,
From this black African-American brother.
definitely not Jewish girl. I think we've all been trying to figure out like what's going on.
That's right.
And as like white people, we're like, well, how do I say the right thing?
And then black people, we're just like, how do we educate our white friends?
And as white people, we're like, how do we make sure we're being educated and we're asking the right questions and we're being progressive?
That's right.
But also reminiscing and reflecting on the wrongs in the past.
That's right.
So
I think one of the things is there are a lot of people who are, afraid of the term, live Black Lives Matter. Words Black Lives Matter should be a mindset of all humanity. Does that make sense?
that makes sense.
Absolutely.
How can we best go about helping? Because I know we were talking at dinner a lot about how like us white people, we just want to act and we just want to like put a Band-Aid on it
Right.
and make sure that everyone's okay. But it's about like pausing to reflect.
That's right. That's right.
And then where do we go?
So I think step number one is listening. Step number two is learning. And then step number three is loving. If we do the steps of listening, learning, and loving, then it will stop us from making erroneous decisions or being complicit in our silence. Listen, there is a thing called white privilege. We need to make sure that all of our friends, utilize their privilege to speak truth to power and say Black lives do matter. And the reality is there are a lot of people who are missing the opportunity to build bridges between our communities. Martin Luther King said it best. He said, we will not remember the loud voices of our enemies, but what we will remember is the silence of our friends. That's exactly right. And so you cannot be silent, because if you are silent, then you are complicit in a season where Black lives should matter. Here's the other thing, Liv, and that is the fact that when we're saying Black lives matter, and then people say all lives matter, that's insensitive. Because at the end of the day, all lives matter didn't matter during slavery. All lives matter didn't matter when it was George Floyd's life, or Trayvon Martin, or Rekia Boyd, Laquan McDonald, Sandra Bland, all of those people. All lives matter didn't matter when it was Emmett Till hanging from a tree. The reality is it's insensitive. And so we got to make sure that we take a step back and say, hey, how do we make sure we take the time to listen? How do we take the time to learn, and then make sure that we love our Black brothers and sisters? That's how it ought to be.
Yes.
We're better together.
And so last thing, because I know it's easy to say listen, learn, love, but like
That's right.
for learning, what are your top 3 things that you recommend we use as resources to go to?
I love it. Thanks for this question. So that they go to YouTube and they can listen to my new song, Pastor Chris Harris, Black Lives Matter song. Pull up the official video of the Anthem of African Americans. There are a few books I want them to read. Number one, I want them to read a book called The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. The second book will be Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGroot. They should also read a book called Stamped. And then everybody, Liv, say with me, everybody ought to watch the show called 13th. It's a documentary.
Oh, I've heard of it. I haven't even
It's
watched
amazing.
it.
Come on, Liv. Now, I'm going to take your black card if you don't watch this show. I'm going to take your black card, girl. Come on now. You got to watch 13th, because that will help you to understand the plight of African American people. Those books and that documentary would literally open the eyes of a whole bunch of people. And they can also go to GuideStar and they can download our app, Faith in Justice and Peace, and learn a whole lot more about the plight of African American people, because we're better together. This is what it's all about. Black Lives Matter should be a mindset. No individual, no group, no entity, no organization, no platform can really own that term. Everybody ought to feel Black Lives Matter. That's what I'm talking about.
You're amazing. I
Better
can't wait
together,
to hang
baby.
with you tomorrow.
I'm excited about it. We got to get work done.
Thank you,
Good to
guys.
see y'all.
You're amazing.
Follow your boy.
Bye.
Guess what? They can catch me hanging out with my girl Liv. That's what it's all about, baby.
At whose house? At whose house?
At Shelly's house, my baby. What I mean?
Amen.